everyone, welcome to the unbelievably awesome card class featuring some incredible products from Hero Arts. You are joining the final class today for the Spring 2026 Crop and Create. I'm so excited to have you guys here. We're going to create 3 cards featuring some fun products. I'm going to actually kind of dive right in. Well, first I'll do a little introductions. I have the wonderful Nicole helping monitoring comments for me today. Thank you, Nicole. And of course, Gavin on the camera, which I know you guys got to see some of these familiar faces for the Spellbinders class. So let's dive right in because we have a lot packed into this class. We're going to start with a real quick correction. I know you love that, but I do want to point it out and have us all do this first, just in case anybody doesn't stay through the whole video or anything like that. We have it documented. So you want to go to card number 1, which says Loch Ness Z-Fold. So I'm going to give you guys a moment to get your books open. Just made a measurement mistake. Go down to step number 7. And very kindly, Heather pointed out to me today, or actually yesterday, that I had the wrong measurement here. It should say score wavy fog strip at 4 1/4 instead of 4 1/2. So if you can change that half to 1/4, you'll be good. And then there's a second 4 1/2. You'll say, it says do a mountain fold at 4 1/2. That should be the 4 1/4. And that's it, I promise. That's the only correction you have to make. Everything else is good. But I do want to address that so nobody gets confused. Okay, we are starting with this first card, this Z-Fold Loch Ness card. Hold on camera here. Super fun, this card. Not only do we do the front, but we do the inside as well. And you can see that sentiment is nicely hidden behind our super cute Loch Ness, or Nessie, from the Gentle Giant die set. You should have done your homework and have a bunch of die cuts like so. I'm going to move the book out of the way here. The first thing we're going to do is actually just glue all these together. I'm terrified something's going to go missing or fly away. I don't know. Some of you may have already glued it together, so that's awesome. But I wanted to do this with you just in case anybody got confused. But the first thing we're going to do is simply glue these together, which I do think I have later on down the line. But again, I was just afraid I'd lose something. So the very first thing is we're going to take this black eye, and it's going to be adhered behind that opening, that eye hole in the Nessie. And we're going to do the lighter teal. That's the one we're going to adhere it to. The one that has the like spots on it. And you know, I'm going to use my handy tool here. Pop that in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive to the entire rest of her body. And do a little on the eye as well. Now this might be a little confusing how it lines up. I think the best way is to start with the belly, the most roundest part of the belly, and the edge right here. Line that up, and then it follows along on the back, but then it intentionally stops following along, and then you line it back up at the head. And that just creates a really cool dimension, having that darker layer. So that's how it goes together. There we go. Hold that just for a second to let that glue set up. And now we'll move on to the flippers. So we have 2. That's what's great about this design, or this die set. You can have more than one flipper if you want. You just make more than one. There's also a tail, which we'll use and create on card 2. This gets lined up right there at the top, essentially. There we go. And I'll repeat it with the other one. There we go. So that is Nessie all done. Now we're on to all the greenery. So I'm going to put her aside. And let's start with these. I'm calling in the snake pieces. I'm an Arizona girl, so I don't know my underwater plants, but I do know my succulents and cactus, and this looks like a snake plant to me. So we're gonna line up, we have the detail layers here, and we have the base layers here, cut out of the two different greens. We have the fern here, and then right here is the lighter shade, which is rainforest. I'm gonna take one of the lighter ones and pair it up, like one of the detail lighter ones, pair it up with the darker bases. And that's pretty much how we're going to put these together. That way we have some contrast. Just do little dabs of glue. One handy trick, if you have some scrap cardstock, you can take the back of your, after you have the glue on there, just take it and tap it off onto some scrap cardstock, and that will remove the excess glue, and then stick it down. This is great for those detailed die cuts. Really handy to do. There we go. So that's stuck. Now I'm going to grab one of the details of the darker green. Add our little dabs of glue. And we're going to spend the most time, you know, I need my tweezers. It's time. I got to bust out my reverse tweezers. And then just tap off the excess and place it on one of our bases, the lighter green base. So these two, I should have pointed out, these snake plants, you have like two that are, there's two different snake plants, but there's 4 dies because there's the base and the detail layer. Some of the snake plants, like these two we did here, are the wider ones, just a slightly wider. And these ones are the taller, narrower ones. So now we're moving on to the taller, narrower ones. Just kind of repeating the process we did before, taking one of the darker detail ones and then placing on top of the lighter base. Get my glue dots on there, kind of tap off the excess. Place that down. There we go. Grab the rainforest, the lighter green. I love all these greenery pieces. There's so many. We didn't even use all of them on this card. There's so many more dies that are in the set. We could really create some fun scenes, some underwater scenes with all of these greenery pieces. They add so much, I think, to the scene. All right, those are done now. All we have to do is these 3. These are the ones I'm calling seaweed-like. We're going to do these. You have, as you can see, there's the detail layer. They go on top of the base layer. And we also have rocks. That'll be the last little die cuts for this first card that we adhere together. Started with the most complicated first. But once we get through it, the rest are a little bit easier. There we go. Tap off the excess. Line that up. 1 more to go. Stick that guy down. All right. Now onto the rocks. So the rocks, there's actually 3 rocks in this die set. We didn't use the smallest size. We used the medium and the large. So this is the medium right here, and this is the large. The smallest rock doesn't actually have a second layer for it, so we didn't even use it for this card. But we did use the medium and the large, and we die cut the base and the detail layers out of 2 different grays included in your kit, the fog and anchor. There we go. One of those A words. Anchor and fog. And we're just simply like we did with the snake plants, we're going to layer the contrasting color on top of the base. So I have one of the lighter large rocks base cut out of the fog. We're going to then just take this anchor and put it right on top. This anchor base, detail layer I should say, for the large rock. Now I'll move on to the 2 detail layers for the darker grays. Put those on top. Let's tap off some more of that excess. Oops, not him. I always love these layering die sets. They take a little bit more time to put together, but they add so much dimension and interest because you can use different colored cardstocks. One thing I love to do, but I didn't even do on these cards, is a little bit of ink blending. That also can really step up the layers for your die cuts. We just focused mostly on the colored cardstock though. Moving on to the medium rocks. Again, tapping off that excess so we don't have too much glue everywhere. Find these reverse tweezers from Hero. It's super handy for little things like this because then I can I don't have to pinch it myself. I can use the tweezers to hold those die cuts in place while I move them around and get them in the right spot. Though I have to admit, I was not always a fan of reverse tweezers. It took me a little while to get the hang of them. But once I kind of got used to them, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite tool. How did I live? And then I couldn't live without them. Anytime I travel for any events, you know I'm be taking my reverse tweezers. Oops. Very handy. But there's definitely a time and place for the other tweezers that are part of the handy tool pack. I use these a lot to kind of do a little cleanup or poke little holes. So I like having both. All right, so that's all put together. We're now ready to kind of start down the steps of our card. So we can put these aside. All those die cuts are now glued. I don't have to worry about, or not as much as a piece going missing. And we're going to start with the fog piece here. We're going to die cut this with the Gentle Giant die set. You're going to grab this wavy die here. I'm so glad this was included in this set. It kind of allows you to build bunches of scenes, which you guys will see. We will take advantage of this die quite a bit in this class. The first thing we're going to do is die cut this 3 by 8.5 panel of fog. Now clearly it's 6 inches, so it's not long enough to cover the whole thing, which is fine. We're going to position it so it can cover as much as we can. I'm going to use a piece of tape to hold it in place. And you want to position it about, I'd say about 2/3 from the bottom. And I'm going to use a piece of tape to just hold it down. And I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. So let's grab it on over. Oh, there's a piece of paper in here. I need that later. I'm glad I found it now. All right. Run that through. You know, looking at mine, I think I was a little too generous. I might cut it one more time. Do you see how it's a little bit smaller? I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter. So I'm going to repeat that step. It should be fine, but I'm trying to do it as close to the original as possible. So I'm going to go a little bit lower. Again, you don't have to do this if you cut it about the same place as I did mine. I should have looked at my original before I cut it. but this is just kind of personal taste. I like the way the original turned out, so I want to try to copy that a little bit. I think that's pretty good. All right. Grab my tweezers. Kind of help me get that tape off of there. There we go. And now we are going to continue the cut. Now it was this way. Sometimes you might find that if you actually flip the die around, you might get it to line up better. Or you can continue on the way it was. I am not looking for absolute perfection, just something close. So I'm doing my best to line up the end to where I left off. And if it overlaps a little bit, that's fine. Just a little bit is okay. Eyeballing that. We can always use scissors. And you can even hold it up, which I'm going to do here in just a second. I can kind of hold it up and see, kind of angle it towards me and see, do I have it kind of lined up, that little blade, with the cut that I originally made? And it looks pretty good to me. It is still a bit of a guessing game. It's not a perfect science, but I think we'll get pretty close with that. All right, let's see how we did. Oh, it looks pretty darn good. I'm happy with that. That right there is our little seam and looks pretty good. You could always hand cut this if you want, but it is nice to be able to use the die, and it's another use for it as well. Not just for water, we can use it to create our ground.
Question, Shannon.
Yes.
Can you measure? Do you have a ruler there to see how high that is?
Let's see. Do I have a ruler?
There's one.
I have a Misty, which
That
has
works.
a ruler on it. This is about a little bit short of 2 inches. Do you see that?
Yep. All right, just a little short of 2 inches. Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be an exact measurement. Nothing's crucial upon that. It's just for how I laid out the scene previously. I liked the way it looked, so I wanted to try to replicate it. Oh, and here comes Kim to save the day with a ruler. Thank you. All right, now we're going to ink blend this and splatter on this, and then we'll put it aside to dry and we'll start working on our card base. But first, let's get our ink. We're going to use granite and a blending brush and simply ink blend a gradation. And you know, I have a stencil mat here to kind of try to keep the workspace clean. So let's grab that. There we go. Create a gradation, blend, it's going to be darker on the bottom and lighter up towards the top. Actually, I pretty much don't even ink blend past a little bit, maybe just a tiny bit past halfway. And again, this is granite, it's a gray. My table is shaking. I'm gonna have to use my body to kind of hold it in place. There we go.
Up embossing powder that looks like sand, which reminds me of a little conversation we were having here this morning. So yes, trying to source that again. We used to have that on Hero and it sold quite well, and it's really cool. All these beachy things.
What if even if it was different colors? We have a sand, but what if we had like embraced like the whole soil had a different, not just tan, but what if it was gray? That'd be cool. I haven't seen that before. Could be used for lots of things, I think.
So.
All right, there's my blend. Now we're gonna add the splatter. So I'm gonna use an acrylic block, which you just need a slick surface, some water in a spray bottle, and a brush. This is how I like to do my splatters. I'm gonna move things away that might get splattered. We're gonna take the granite ink. Now it's not a water reactive ink, so it's not the best ink for this technique, but I didn't want to add another ink to you guys' list, especially just for a little bit of splatter, and we can make it work. We can make it work. Oh, he's stuck on there. Oh my goodness. Try this way. So I stick my hand right into my ink pile. Okay, let's try this again. Let's press this down on here. So just taking that granite, pressing it right down onto the acrylic block. I'm going to spray some water down on the lower half. There we go. You know what? I don't want to have to pick that up again. It's stuck so well to this sticky mat. And then I'll grab some of that water and kind of move it over into that ink. Watering it down. That's probably pretty good. And now I will splatter just by tapping on the brush. Oh yeah. The nice thing about this technique is just like water spots but in reverse, but does kind of the same thing, adds some texture, but also hides your blending flaws, which I did several. Not do the best blend today. All right, almost done there. And I'm concentrating, you can see I'm doing lower part here and kind of controlling that it's on the, most of the splatter is down on the lower half. I just like the way it looks. It's a little heavier with the splatter down there. It's lighter to the top. All right, I'm happy with that. I'll hold up so you guys can see. Some great kind of texture. It looks like sand or dirt. So easy to do. All right, clean this up. Let that dry, and we'll work on our panel of windy cardstock. Start creating that underwater background. So you should have did I get one gray splatter? No, I didn't. I got them all away. You should have an 8.5 by 5.5, so a half sheet of windy cardstock. This was actually included in your kit, just like this dimension, so that's nice. No trimming on that one. And we're gonna blend the water over this. You can see there. That's what we're gonna do. But we actually need to create these waves, and to do that, we are going to make a stencil. This is what I'll refer to several times in the instructions, creating your DIY stencil. We'll need that wavy die again. That's part of the Gentle Giant. And you'll need a scrap piece of paper. This does not have to be heavyweight, but heavier than copy paper or computer paper. Computer paper can actually be too thin, and when you blend on your stencil, it can actually bleed through. So you want to make sure it's like 65 or 80. This can just be some scrap paper. I'm using white. It doesn't even matter the color. We're going to cut this into 3 stencils just by cutting the die twice. So we'll line it up somewhere right there. You can just visually divide it into thirds. It does not have to be perfect at all. Something like that. And I will run it through. Let's put it right here so you can kind of see. Let me cut it, run it through my die cutting machine. So essentially this wavy die is a landscape die. And we're kind of showing you, or in this class is kind of showing you a lot of ways you can use your landscape dies. They're super handy. We used it to create a scene, kind of like a textural part of our scene. And now we're using it to create masks and dies. And there's many other ways you can use it too, but they're such handy dies to have in your collection. You can really get a lot of use out of them. And this wavy one is so fun because it doesn't just read as water. You saw I used it for sand. We're going to use it for water here, but we'll also use it for mountains and hills. I shouldn't have done that. Wow. Turn it over. Nobody will know. Okay. Now you have 3 masks. You can just pick one to start with, doesn't matter which. And we're going to use this to create our water. And I'm going to grab this card back here again. We'll look at it as we go. And then you need your blue. We're going to use stone wash, a blending brush. And the first thing we're going to do is simply ink blend a gradation along the top. So I like it a little darker, and then it gets lighter towards the bottom. So that's the first thing to do. Let's see if I can redeem myself on my blending skills. What I need to do is tap off onto the excess. Load it up and tap off, which is what I didn't do before. Okay. Let's see if we can redeem ourselves. Just ink blend a little at the top. I'm just using my stencil right now as a piece of scrap paper, but that's fine.
Okay, so we have a question.
Yes.
Ellen is asking, why can't we just use the leftover cut from the last cut? So, like, I think she's thinking your fog, the reverse of your fog.
For
your stencil.
Oh, you could. But the only thing, the downside of that is it's thin. So you're left with a thin piece. Here you have a lot, which is nice for holding on, and having extra will be at least one stencil that's extra is handy for the third and final card. But no, you could definitely use that. You totally could have. And if you want to use that, go right ahead. For the first 2 cards, that's going to be fine.
And then can you put your cap for your blue in the frame so they can see what your blue ink is?
Oh, my blue ink.
There you go. Stone wash. Perfect. It kind of looks purple on screen to me, but it is not purple. Clearly.
No, it's like a blue jean color.
Yeah, like a denim.
So just creating a little gradation there. That's it, just a tiny bit at the top. I'm not worried about the rest of it. I'm not trying to bring it all the way down. We want to leave as much of the blue, this is Cascade, much of the Cascade cardstock color intact. So we have contrast when we ink blend with our water. Okay, so for this, we're actually going to ink blend kind of like this. So might seem, we're gonna go back and forth, but for this time, for this card, we're gonna hold it like this. So you're ink blending the top of the waves. So that's how we're gonna be using it. I'm gonna start over here. You can start anywhere, and let me show you the original card here so you can see. I don't continue it all the time. I just have little sections here and there. You can continue it all the way across. I've actually made this card several times. Sometimes I'll do some sections all the way across. Sometimes I'll break it. I like both. So I'm going to start at the top, hold it in place. You could tape it, but I don't want to bother with that. That just takes too long. You can see why here having that extra length is nice. It's easy to hold in place as opposed to maybe if you use that scrap of fog. The only thing is when you get to the end, kind of stop short of the end, because if you ink blend all the way to the end, you could get a hard line here. So that's really the only trick. So either end, as you ink blend, stop a little short of the end so you don't get a hard edge. I'll lift that up and we have a wave. And I could line it up and continue it if I want. Just kind of line it up there. There we go. And we're going to continue all the way down. Just pick a next spot. And you can get a little lighter as you move down. We did have that additional gradation up here that we created. I have a little boo-boo here that's driving me nuts. Let's see if I can fix it. It's a little tiny bit darker. Camouflage it maybe. I'm playing with fire. I shouldn't. Just leave it alone. I can even reline the stencil up and go back over if I want to. You guys should be continuing to work your way down. I'll catch up. Hopefully you're ahead of me.
And they just keep asking, same color. I'm like, yep, it's the same color.
Same color, yep.
Because it does look so different depending on how heavy of a hand you have. That's what's so cool.
Yeah, we won't use nautical until card number 2.
And Gina K just said, your nails are fire. So I want to make sure that you got that compliment.
That just made my whole
They do
month.
look so good. so good.
Thank you, Gina. I even splurged to get my toes done this time only because my sister's birthday. And we went out and did our pedicures, which I like never do. So now my toes match too, so I feel very, very fancy.
Very fancy. Well, it's kind of now that time where our toes are starting to emerge with the heat. So
yeah, unfortunately, it's way too hot here in Arizona already.
It's gonna cool off this week to 95. Okay, while you're blending, I did a little research on the old Loch Ness. So I'll start with the softball. One of you already answered it, but
oh my gosh.
What country, this is kind of tricky to, but what country is this legend come from? So throw your answers in the chat. Shannon, do you know what country it's from?
I do, but I did double check just to make sure I wasn't going to say anything or do anything offensive. So I did double check.
Okay, cool. So we'll give them a few minutes to throw that up. Somebody already said it. They already knew, so.
I'm having way too much fun making waves, guys, so I might have gone a little overboard on the waves, but it's going to look at how cool it's looking. Cool. It's so fun.
Okay, they all got it right.
Good.
So, someone actually said they were there. Interesting.
No way. That's awesome. I want to go so bad.
So, next fun fact is it's too deep to freeze.
No way.
So, because it's so deep, the Loch Ness never freezes. Because it's so deep. So interesting. I did not know that. Did you know this stuff, Gavin? I feel like you would know this, Gavin.
I knew it was deep. I didn't know about the freezing.
Yeah. Because it's way up there, and it does not ever freeze.
All right. I am done with my waves. Hopefully you guys are done with them too. I did go a little overboard with them. You do not need this many. You can see in my original, I definitely didn't do quite as much. Similar, but not quite.
It's a windy day.
All of they're just so fun and easy to make. You can just fill in the spaces here and there if you feel like There's too many gaps. Okay, now we're going to score. Get this out of the way. So you need your scoring board. We're going to be scoring our wavy card base, as well as this fog strip that we created at the very beginning, which should be dry, hopefully. The card simply gets scored at, and I'm going to grab my instructions here so I don't make a mistake, at 2 1/8. So this is step number 6. So you have the instructions, actually the numbers written right out. So we're going to score first at 2 1/8. So right here's 2. Right there I'm at 2. Now I'm going to slide it to 1/8, which is just in between 2 1/4. It's right in between there. And I'm going to score it. Then we're going to score at our very comfortable 4 1/4. We've done that time and time again. So go to 4 1/4 and score. So we should have 2 scores, one at 2 1/8 and one at 4 1/4. Now we can go ahead and fold this. This is the Z fold. So the 4 1/4 is a valley fold, so it goes in. And the 2 1/8 is a mountain fold, so it'll go out. I like my tool here to kind of press over it. And that is our Z fold. Now for our fog strip here, this is a little different. Now I think the easiest way to score this is actually to flip it over. I think this would be true for everybody's score machine. So our score, what do you call it, board? So hopefully this makes sense for everybody. And mainly for mine because it's have the numbers here only at the top. That goes out to 6 3/8, which is one of our measurements. All right, let me get this all here. There we go. So we're on step 7 now. This is the one we made a correction on. So we're going to score this first at 4 1/4, which is right in the middle. So not 4 1/2. You should have crossed that out. We're going to score it at 4 1/4. So I'm going to find 4 1/4 right here and score. And I do have my strip flipped over. Okay, with it still flipped over, we're going to slide it all the way to 6 3/8 and score it. Now the reason, before I do that, I want to point out the reason why. So this is our middle score right here, right? It's this half here where we want that 6 3/8 score line. So, or no, I'm sorry. Did I get that right? See, I get confused. Oh no, we don't want to score it there. Yes, we do. Okay. It's so confusing. I need to trust myself. Okay, so it's this half here where we want it.
Yes.
And so when I flip it over, I'll be scoring right here. Okay. So I'll move it all the way to 6 3/8, which is just an 1/8 shy of a half. So right there, it's kind of hard to see because that's like almost right where the numbers start appearing again. So 6 3/8, again, the measurements are there in your instructions. There we go. Just like, and this fold here, the 6 3/8 is a valley, and the 4 1/4 is a mountain. All right. Now we get to put this together. So this is how it's going to go together, like so. When you're adhering, I'm going to actually use liquid glue. I like to add glue here to our small side, so here to the small backside of our gray, and then I'll add it here. But I will be mindful not to go too high up with my glue because I don't want it to be exposed. So start with your little fold here of your fog. And you can use your Misty if you want to. I'm just gonna eyeball it. It does sometimes take a little adjusting, so don't press really, really hard until we've got both parts glued down. So now we're gonna glue here. And again, I'm not gonna go too high up with my glue because I wanna make sure that this is covering it. Hold it out of the way. Something like that. And line it up with the edge. And I'm just gonna quickly, before I really press everything down hard, make sure it's folding well. Might have to slide things over sometimes. I think mine actually did pretty good.
Okay, so we have someone whose board doesn't go out to 6 inches. So I'm trying to figure out this math.
Oh, good. I'm glad you were.
Can she go the opposite way? Because this isn't 8.5 by
you
11.
Could.
So you could do.
You could do, so the other, so really all this strip here is 2 1/8.
Yeah.
So if you can just do 2 1/8, like that's all it is. This is this length is 2 1/8. So it's really the same here that we did for the first part. It's just reverse.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you for doing the math.
The math was done a
So
long time
they're
ago.
like, yeah, flip it, 2 1/8. They're like, thank you, everyone. I promise I was really good at math at school a long time ago.
Yeah, that's the catch. It's a long time ago. Okay. For me, I cannot help my children anymore with their homework. I've aged out. All right, now we're on to kind of building our scene. We get to do, so you're gonna grab those die cuts, and I'm gonna grab my card again. I like to have it on screen, so I as well know where everything goes. We're gonna start with Nessie herself, and I kind of go back and forth. You do want to make sure you have the card kind of closed, because you don't. That's really the only way to know if you're going too far. So you can either tape it down if you want to, or just hold it down. Actually, Shannon, you need to tape it down here. Okay. And something like that. I only want glue clearly on her body, right? You can see the head kind of hangs off, so no glue on that. And you're gonna have some of the belly hanging off. I've just lost my glue somehow. How do I do this? How do I do these things?
See on your machine. I see it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So glue on her belly. I'm guesstimating that's probably fine. Up there. Move it around till I get it into the right space. Thank goodness for liquid glue and that wiggle room, because I live by that. And then we're gonna start tucking in. We'll start with this one because we wanna, before that glue sets, tuck in this arm. Again, I do have a little bit kind of poking out, but you don't have to. You could have it start right there. But because I'm having a little poke out, I'm not gonna have glue everywhere. Just gonna do the tip of her flipper. Tuck that in. She's waving hi or swimming by. I don't know, she's just so cute. And then this flipper, again, a little bit's kind of poking out past the fold. So again, only a little bit of glue on the flipper tip. Have it just like that. And you could add a little glue once you see where it's going to connect with the body. You could add a little glue to the body and get it stuck there. Nice. Now we fill our scene with our greenery. I'm going to follow exactly how I did it originally, which is exactly the die cuts I have for you. But you could always do less, you could do more. This is your card. I'm going to start with one of these green, 2 kind of pronged greenery pieces of the lighter. Stick him down. You know, I've lost my tap off. Oh, we'll use this. This is fine. Then I'm going to grab one of the snake plants, the wider one. Really doesn't matter which, though. It really doesn't matter. Liquid glue on the back side of that. I don't think I need to tap anything off on that one. Stick that down. Then one of these darker leafy plants. He just goes here. Hold him for a little longer. And then we're going to grab a rock. And I used one of the bigger ones, but with the lighter top layer right there. So grab that. I'm going to grab my tweezers for this. Anything teeny tiny. Stick that down. I kind of like covering up the bases sometimes. I think that looks cute. A little bit more natural, like they're growing out from behind. Oh, but it would help if my rock stayed in place. So rude. So rude. Stay there. There we go. Just to hold it for a second. Oh, she's so cute. Oh, I forgot to cut. We'll cut off her belly in a little bit. I forgot about that. I know. Sorry. And we're going to grab the second one. That's that light green it has 2 prongs. Start with that as your base. Stick him down.
When you're done gluing this, can you grab your finished sample and pop it open again so they can kind of see how? And then rotate it. There you go. So it's like, there they go. That's what I want to see. Okay, cool. Thank you.
If I'm going too fast, I can slow down a little bit too. Just let me know. We're doing pretty good on time. Which is not the usual for me, but we are doing well on time.
This is the most complicated one, isn't it?
This is the most complicated one. Yep, I budgeted 45 minutes of our time for this one. And we are on home stretch now. So now I'm gluing in those, I call them seaweed pieces.
Like kelp.
Yes, like kelp, that's good. I like to keep them a little trio together. They look cute, I think, when they're grouped together. There we go. And then we're going to put 2 rocks here. One of our small ones with the light gray on top. They'll go right over here. Hold that for a second. And then grab the dark, large rock. That will go just anywhere, kind of to the side. All right, I'm going to take this opportunity now to cut off that excess part of Nessie before I move on into the second grouping, or third rather, grouping of greenery pieces. I'm going to flip it over so I can see where to cut. Grab my fabulous Spellbinder scissors here and just hold it and cut right along, holding my blades going butt up against the card base. And we have a nice clean cut. Yep, she did. It was always that easy and inexpensive. And now we're going to move on to the inside. I think, let's put both of them open side by side. Maybe. Let's use our scissors to hold that. And I'll just hold this open. Okay, so we're going to start again with the light green piece. Look at how great it looks opened up. It's like a whole little scene. It looks so good.
Everybody is praising your voice and how soothing it is.
Oh, good.
So, just want to pass that along.
I noticed, that's very kind. I've noticed a new tick that I've started doing, and I've been very mindful of it and trying to stop doing it. So it's nice to hear that it's not, it's, you know, we're always our worst critics.
100%.
So it's grating to me when I hear myself do it, which is a little click, like a little, and I'm trying so hard not to do that. Okay, glue that down. And then we can start doing our 2 darker snake plants. They go on either side of that leafy piece. I don't know what happened to me at the end of this little section here, but I like threw all the greenery pieces here on this end. I put a ton on here, but that's okay. Whoops. There we go. Do this one now. And then the lighter snake one, we have our last snake one. Hold him for a little bit longer since he's going over so many layers. And this one, oh, I think one must have fallen off. This one will go right here. I swear it had one at one point. I don't know what happened to it.
These cards get manipulated a lot with photography and all the things.
We'll just stick it right there. But that just goes to show you don't need every little piece. I think this is my good version. Now I'm not sure anymore. Oh, I know this is my second version, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. Now I'm start gluing these rocks in place. You have 3 remaining, so you can just stick those wherever you'd like. And our last little rock. Okay. We are almost done with this card. We have one essential element left to do after we stick these down, and that is stamp our sentiment. Now this is the scariest part, I think. But the good news is there's a coordinating die set, so if your sentiment doesn't stamp perfectly, like maybe it's just always so scary for me to stamp directly onto my card front, even with Misty's, I'm still nervous. I still have like post-traumatic stress from acrylic block days, but luckily there's a die. You guys have the die, so you can always adhere the die cut right on top if it didn't quite stamp perfectly. But let's grab a Misty or some kind of stamp positioning tool to do this. I'm gonna open this up, and you're gonna have to have your card in like this. We're stamping the whole card. I'm going to put a magnet down on basically this inside of our card. Leave that top open to move. So I need it to move while I'm positioning that sentiment. Now you're going to grab the sentiment from, or a sentiment from the Unbelievably Awesome stamp set. We're going to do Hope Your Day is Legendary. We're going to make this a birthday card, though it could be, this could be even a graduation card, I think. Maybe even a Father's Day card. I mean, Hope Your Day is Legendary. It's kind of open. All right, I think, I'm eyeballing it here. Let's see if we got in the right spot. Almost. So you can see how I'm checking and folding my card and checking. I'm trying to do this without getting my big head in the way. That's something that's hard. Always do. Okay. And I think I did it. I think it's hidden. See, I'm folding it over. I can't see it, so we're good. I'm going to use my other magnet to hold this part of my card down. Hopefully, you know what, we're going to flip-flop. We'll use the stronger one there and that one there. Pick up my sentiment. And now you're going to grab your black ink. This really could be any ink. I'm going to be using here Arts Intensified Black. Mindful of ink that you get in other areas, you might want to clean that off before you stamp. I'm going to be extra careful with you guys and clean that off because that can transfer possibly to your die cut. So just be mindful of that. Might want to wipe it off just so you don't have to worry about getting ink somewhere you don't want it. Oh, it's looking real good. Yay! I'm going to stamp it again. This is the scariest part. Can you tell? You tell this is what scares me the most. It's such a, oh, I almost made a boo-boo. It's such, we worked so hard on it, right? It's such a cool card. You don't want to mess it up at this point. All right, I think I'm successful. I'm going to call it Dunsey. I'm not going to test my luck. There it is. Covered up just barely. But there we go. That's our first card done.
Can you go over your card base measurements one more time?
Yes.
Okay. I have a fancy ruler over there.
Let me grab. Here it is. Okay, so the card base, of course, it's 5.5 by 8.5. For the windy panel, that's the blue panel, you're going to make a score line at 2 1/8. Not sure if I can get that on camera here. 2 1/8. Yeah, that's your first score line. And then 4 1/4 is your second score line in the middle.
So you're doing a mountain fold on 2 1/8 and a valley fold on 4 1/4.
Correct.
That's the key.
And then for your fog piece here, both of them will have a score line at 4 1/4, but on the fog piece, at the 4 1/4 score line, it's a mountain fold versus a valley fold that you did on the card base. So kind of opposite. And then the final score is at 6. All right, line it up 6 3/8. Or another way to think of it, I'll hold it there just for a second, which is 1/8 short or shy of 6 1/2. I know that's a little bit easier to think than 6 3/8. And then another way to think of it is, maybe we'll do it this way. It's 2 1/8. That's another way to think of it too. It just, if your scoreboard's small and you need to flip it or something, that might be a helpful measurement to know.
Cool. Thank you.
And that's the basis for a Z-fold. So, you know, I know we talked about, sorry, my brain's forgetting, landscape dies. Really, a landscape die and a Z-fold are meant to be. There's so much you can do with this. Swap out these images, you could have a completely different scene. So it's a handy, kind of simple, interactive, fun fold card design to have in your tool belt. And very simple. Once you get those measurements down, it's kind of like shaker cards. I messed up shaker cards so much when I first started. And after I did like 3, I got it down. And I think the Z-fold's the same way. After you do like a couple, you'll have that part nailed down. Because of some of the measurements you're pretty familiar with. The 4 1/4. It's just that 6 3/8 or the 2 1/8 that are a little funky. All right, now we're moving on to card 2. So we're moving on to this one too. It's the You're a Legend. I'm gonna grab my card and stuff here. Here we go. This one has a fun little cut to it as well. You can see just a little fun kind of change of card design. Little fun surprise. Let me open it. It looks great when it's displayed, showing that little depth. So very easy and fun. I don't even have a name for whatever that is. I'm going to put this stamp away real quick here because we're going to need our Misty again. So I'm going to put this away before I get mad at myself later. Put that in there. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is ink blend our gradations to create this awesome background. And you can see we have that water lines again, so we're going to use our DIY mask. So if you put that away, make sure you can find it again and get it handy. For this card, you'll need an A2 side folding card base. You should have that already created. It was part of your homework. You'll need 3 A2 panels, one in Seaside, one in Cascade, and one in Celestial. You'll also need your die cuts, but you know what? I think we can do these later. I think we can move on to those later. We'll start by ink blending on the Seaside with a teal. And it is Bermuda that I'm using. Love, love, love this color. So good. And I'm looking for my stencil mat. Here it is. Try to keep my workspace sort of clean. And I always like to have my paper angled when I ink blend. We're going to start and ink blend a gradation, and I'll put my card here so you can see too. The upper kind of quarter, really. Load up my brush. Let's put this here so you guys can see it. Maybe here. There. Tap off the excess. You know what? I'm flipping this over. I don't think I like blending on the sticky side. Flipping it over.
I always kind of wonder, I'm like, what side am I supposed to use?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to use the divoted side, right? That's supposed to be the side that's up? Or is it the other way around? I don't even know.
I really don't know. I don't blend too much on my... If I'm blending on here, I have a stencil. So it's kind of changes things usually. Oh yeah, I like this side way better. Okay.
And is that the divot side or the
Yeah,
side?
the divot side. I like that way better. Well, because it's not catching as much. It was catching and sticking a little too much to the sticky side. I mean, they're both sticky, but the flat side's stickier. Oh yeah, this is much better. See, look, I can actually ink blend, guys. I am able to do it. Though, admittedly, the conditions have to be just right.
I think it's one of the hardest things.
It really is. It really is.
This is why we're always in awe of Mindy, right?
Right.
So
She's
good.
the queen. She is the queen.
Mindy actually sent in some projects today for some upcoming releases, and they're so good.
They are.
So Mindy, if you're watching, so good.
Throwing things. I got it. Nobody needs to worry. I'll get it. What would it be if I didn't drop something like, especially die cutting plates? If I didn't drop a die cutting plate on the ground. I mean, did I even do a live? I don't know. Okay. Now we're going to grab, oh, and then we're going to trim this. You know what? I'm going to skip the instructions around on the instructions a little bit just because I don't want to have to put my trimmer, bring my trimmer out and then put it back down, bring my trimmer out, put it back down. So what we're going to do now, we will trim all 3 of these panels a 1/2 inch shorter on the long side. That would be the next step to do on the Seaside panel, but I want to do that in one go all together. So we're going to actually take these panels and die cut them now with the with the wavy die. I'm going to start with the Celestial. That's this panel back here. And we're going to cut it about, and you know what, let's get a ruler. So we're doing it right, y'all. About 1 1/4 from the top. It's about where it is. Nothing has to be exact though. Not like the Z fold where your score lines mattered. Here, this doesn't matter as much. Just, I like it there. I think it looks good there. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to use some tape to hold it in place. When you position your tape, try to place it mostly at the top portion because you won't get your tape lines down here on the good part that you're keeping. I'm gonna run this through, and this is where I gotta get my plate that I dropped. And you know what? We will move this sticky mat out of the way at least. Okay, remove that. Then we're going to repeat that process on the other one, but this time we're going to go a little bit further down. So we did. Why does it seem so much shorter? Oh no, it's fine. Let's see where we want it. I said about 2 inches in the instructions. I think that's probably going to be pretty close. Yep, about 2 inches from the top. Tape, hold that in place, and run that through. All right, now we're going to trim off that 1/2 inch on our panels. So you should have your three pieces like this: Seaside, Cascade, Celestial. And I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. Now you could have I like to cut this, eventually because they all get cut and they get stacked on, you could have essentially glued them all together and then cut them. But of course, after we do the ink blending part. But I find sometimes I don't get the nicest, cleanest cuts when I'm cutting through lots of cardstock, so I'm separating it and doing it one at a time. So we're gonna we're cutting off a 1/2 inch, so that means we're going to be at 3 3/4. That should be a 1/2 inch. So I'll do that on all 3 of my panels, and we might have to go.
In terms of the colors, the bottom is Seaside.
The back is Seaside. Yep.
Seaside, and then it's Celestial.
Celestial, and no, then Cascade, then Celestial.
Okay, then Cascade, then Celestial. Okay, Seaside, then Cascade, then Celestial. Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna flip this over to cut this just because that makes it easier for me. So 3 3/4, and that will give me that 1/2 inch off. 3 3/4. And I think after this, guys, the fractions, the cutting, you're done with it. That
math class is over?
Yes, that part of math class is over. No more. All right, now we're going to do some ink blending on this. But there it is. He's stuck still in my machine. Starting with the Cascade, I'll put this here so we can see. You're going to grab your DIY stencil and stone wash again. You will need nautical for the next piece, but for right now you just need the stone wash. But if that nautical is somewhere handy, you might want to grab it because we're going to use it next. Starting with the stone wash, and we are going to ink blend. So last time we ink blended the waves like this. This time we're going to go this way, so you can kind of change it up. It just gives a slightly different look. So now we're like ink blending kind of well, it becomes the top, but it's also, I think of it as more like the belly of the wave. Now, in my instructions, I say to start in the middle and work your way up. You don't have to go quite as far as the middle, you know, just as far as that panel's covering up. Well, we can start there. I think I'm gonna go a little higher than the middle, just to be sure we covered it. And you'll ink blend lightly with that stone wash to create our waves. Nice. And then I'll do it over here, and I'm just gonna slide it over so I get some variation. So it's not the same wave design straight all the way up, so that would be very repetitive. And I think that might be all I need to do. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Maybe one more. Yeah, there we go. So there's our waves. Cute. I love it. Looks great. Now we're going to do the same thing to our celestial panel. But see, this is why these tweezers, these ones are good for this. We're using nautical this time. And we're going to start at the bottom. So grabbing our nautical. I have a different blending brush for this color. Just ink blend right along. Oh, he's so dark and rich. Love it. Beautiful color. Again, I'm going to slide it around and get some variation.
This is very appropriate because, if I may, the waters of Loch Ness are known to be extremely dark.
Ah.
Because the high peat content in the surrounding soil makes the water extremely dark and murky, which is what allows the creatures inside to stay hidden.
Of course.
There you go. There's a lot of people on our show today that have actually been to Loch Ness, which is so cool.
That is so cool. It's going to be on my bucket list for sure. I would love to go. Gosh, we should go in the summer. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Go to someplace cold and be amazing. Now for the bottom here, I like to do a little ink blend with nautical just to kind of cut. It's very lots of contrast there. Too much really. So I'm just ink blend a little bit with that nautical down there. It just softens it up a little bit. I don't want to get too dark though, because I still have that sentiment to stamp. And if it's too dark, and we're stamping in black, so if it's too dark, it's kind of hard to read. But that's it. We're done with that. You can put your inks aside. You can get your sticky mat out of the way. We're going to quickly glue. We can go ahead and glue these layers together if we want. No, actually, let's wait. We're going to, I remembered why I waited in my instructions. We're going to glue our Nessie and boat together. We've done one Nessie before, so it should, same kind of steps. We're going to start with that eye. This one we cut out of some greens, and I love her out of, I think I like her out of green most of all. Then glue all on this back side. And again, for lining up, I'm going to start at the belly. There we go. That one went together real easy. I'm going to hold it just a little bit on her head because they've got that extra layer there with the eye. So hold it a little longer. I saw somebody share in the group that they used, I think like an enamel dot for the eye, and it was so cute. I loved it. It looked like a puppy dog eye. It was just cute. Now I need my reverse tweezers. Where did they go? Disappeared. Oh no, how can I do this without my reverse tweezers? How does this happen? I don't know. It's amazing.
I'm trying to see from my angle. I don't see it.
I know. I lost them for real. For real, they're gone.
They didn't stick to the bottom of your sticky mat, right? No, you would have felt
I
that.
don't think so. They'll turn up at the very end, of course.
They will.
When
Just
I don't
like
need
my
them
scissors
anymore.
always go missing.
Should be. Nope, not under there. I could have put them in here and I didn't. It's just too hard to see. Oh, I found them. They were put away, of course.
Oh, why would you do that?
It's just, I don't trust myself. That's too put together. Okay. All right. So we had the tail, and I should have highlighted that the tail kind of goes, again, reveals some of the bottom part, mainly on the left side. And now we're going to put our boat together. You have 3 parts for the boat: a top out of the fog, the body out of anchor, and that little base out of raven. Oh, she's giving me back up. She knows me. I did find them, but I need 2, really, truly, because I lose them. Kim in for the assist.
Someone said, "Is that what fell on the floor?"
No, I just dropped die cutting plates on the floor.
They have a very distinct sound.
So that was a good guess. It could have been. Both those layers, that top fog piece, and even that little teeny, which some were giving the award for the tiniest die cut, that little bottom part of the ship that goes right on top of that anchor piece.
So cute.
Alrighty, he's gonna want, I want him to get a little tucked in the waves. I think that looks cute. So that's why I wanted to put these together before we adhere all this while the glue is still liquidy. Okay, we're gonna start with our cascade. Stick this down. Whoa. Again, I'm not gonna put any glue up here so I can tuck that boat in. Line it up. Then this guy, you can have glue everywhere. No worries for that one. Right on top. All right, and then my boat. And we kind of need the Nessie here to know where to place it. So you can kind of see where she's gonna go with her tail here and flipper here. So I want the boat to kind of go right in the middle, I think. Grab my other tweezers. This is a 2-tweezer job here. Lift that up a little bit and stick that boat in. So cute. Oh my gosh, I love it. Adorable. All right, we're almost ready to put this together. We do need to cut off a 1/2 inch from our front panel of our card base. So I lied. I'm a liar. We do need our paper trimmer one more time. I should have trimmed it when we were trimming those panels, but I wasn't thinking about that then. So you can just go to a 1/2 inch if you have a measurement on this side. You can go right to a 1/2 inch, or you can flip it over. And gosh, I can't think of it. I guess it would be, you'd cut it at 8, cut off a 1/2 inch, but I'm gonna flip it here and just cut it 1/2 inch right off here. Like so. And let's glue this panel right on here. Cute. There we go. Looks like I have a little cut up on the bottom. So I'll just grab my scissors to do that. And now for Nessie herself. Just gonna get glued up there. Now the only trick here is not putting glue on those areas that are gonna be off of the card front. So that's just, you gotta kind of place it where you want it to go and then think about where you want it. So I know I need to go about 1.25 inches on the head and most of the belly. I can do glue. So 1.25 inches on the head and most of the belly, and we're safe. And I'm gonna hold it down. She's so sweet. Flipper and her tail. Her tail's another area that has a part hanging off. So kind of place it where you want it to go. I like it just covering up that corner. It's a little bit more seamless. So I know I can go about 1 inch and really only like maybe 3/4 of an inch over. This one's the trickier one. The best thing I can say is be cautious. Err on the side of caution and use less glue. Usually don't need too much glue to stick something down. Alright, so there's our tail and Nessie all there. And we'll finish with her flipper, and I like her looking like she's kind of hugging or reaching out for that boat. In my mind, she's like keeping them safe. There we go. This one turned out so good. I'm happy with it. All right, and then we'll finish with our sentiment again. Stamping that sentiment last. It's the scary part. But we can do it. And what we're going to do here, a little bit different, we're going to curve our sentiment a little bit, just a little curve. Follow the curve of her back. We're using the, let me grab the original so you can see just a little curve. We're using the You're a Legend. Okay, get it in position. I'm going to pick it up. Now there's a couple ways you could do it. You could actually use, what I could have done, I'll show it real quick because it's a good trick. I just don't do it all the time because I'm lazy.
I learned this from Carly. Yeah. I had never seen it before.
Yeah, it's a good trick.
So smart.
So you could use a piece of acetate. I'm just using the acetate that's on the back side of my stamp. Place it down, and I just want to make sure it's in the corner, nestled nice in the corner. And because the acetate's sticky, well, because the acetate's a slick surface, your stamp will stick to it. So you can actually look through the acetate, of course, because it's see-through, and get it to kind of bend to the curve of your die cut in this case. And it will hold it.
Different reason. You're using it to get the curve, not to necessarily check it.
Oh yeah, I'm not checking it. I'm just using it because it's sticky.
Okay.
And it will hold that curve in place. And there, it's holding it in place. So now I know I can just fold it over, pick it up, get rid of that, and it's now in the right spot to stamp. And it's just, again, we're just using that acetate because it's sticky. It's a slick surface that we can look through while we position that. The other way to do it, which is I usually do it because I'm lazy, is which is weird because it's the harder way to do it. Don't ask me why I think it's easier, but it's really not. I just keep adjusting it. I kind of open it and adjust, open it and adjust. But the acetate way is the easier way, really, honestly. Okay, now we're going to stamp. Just like before, we want to be mindful of that over inking. We want to wipe that up if we have any, because that can get on our die cuts, especially because of the thickness of some of those cardstock layers that we have. Oh yeah, looking real good. Yay! It's such a relief when it stamps nice. and it follows that curve. So, I almost didn't follow my own advice. Okay, I'm going to do one more time, and then we're going to call it done. You do want to luckily this curve is not very exaggerated, but another thing to keep in mind is that sometimes your stamp likes to snap back and lose its hold. So you do want to kind of go quickly. That's the biggest risk you run, I think, with this technique, is that stamp starting to pull away because it wants to go back to its straight linear form. So it starts to pull away from your MISTI or your stamping platform and go back to its original form. But we did it. And our card is done. It looks so good. Sentiment right there curved a little bit along the back of our Loch Ness. So fun. And that cool kind of cut window, which I think is looks so cool when it's up on display. All right, last card of the night. We're on to card 3. Do we have an hour and a half left? No, we have an hour?
We have a half hour.
Half hour left, okay.
34 minutes technically.
34 minutes, okay. Thank you. I'm all... Oh, yeah, okay, duh, because of the time change. Da-da-da-da-da. All right, we can do this. This is our last card. I'm going to start. You should have all your stamped elements die cut and stamped in an alcohol-friendly ink, done and ready to go. Now we're going to have these 2 panels here. One is an A2 panel of Seaside and an A2 panel of Cascade. We are going to first ink blend on Cascade with some more of that stone wash. He's been really doing a lot for us today. So simple ink blend at the top, creating a little gradation. This is going to be our sky. I'm going to turn it a little bit here for me. And grab something to tap off. I should have done that to begin with. And I'm sorry, I'm off camera. Sorry, guys. Moved it out of the way, but we're just simple gradation. Okay, that's it. That's our sky. We're done with that panel. You can put that aside. All right, on to the Seaside. We're going to first die cut this. And let's get our ruler out so we tell you the right measurements. We're going to die cut it about an inch and a half. An inch and a half from the top. You see? So cut off the top inch and a half with the wavy. Again, it doesn't have to be this exact measurement. We're just building a scene. No interactive part that has to be exactly that measurement. So do not stress. I'm going to use a couple pieces of tape to hold it in place. There it is. Top plate. Oh my gosh. Alright. Die cut this. And this will actually be our last bit of die cutting. Alright, now we're going to be back to ink blending. All of the land and the water are all on this one panel. We're going to actually do the land first. You're going to need your other two masks or your DIY stencils. One to protect the bottom, and you're going to place it about, oh, let's get that ruler, about it, oh gosh, like 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 from the top of your seaside panel. Place that down to protect that bottom half. I'm going to use some tape to hold it in place. I'll use this. I can't find it. Oh, there's the roll. So I'm holding that stencil in place to protect our water and not get it green. Now we'll simply ink blend with a light green. You're going to need three, well, you don't need 3 greens necessarily, but these 3 greens together make similar colors to these green cardstocks, and that's kind of what I was going for, so a really cohesive palette. We're going to start with your lightest green and ink blend this whole section. This is green apple. Leave that there. And you're going to just a flat color all over. All right, done with that. Now you're going to grab your clean remaining stencil. You don't really want to use this one because you could pick up some of this blue when you ink blend and place it on here. I know it's on the paper. It feels like it wouldn't pick it up, but you will. So we want to start with a nice clean one. That's important. And we're going to ink blend our ground or our hills. We actually don't use this first. First we just ink blend right along this edge. And we're going to ink blend in our 2 darker greens. So I have Forever Green and Pine. And mainly I'm using these 2 colors. You could get away with just 1 green, but I'm using these 2 greens because they create a similar color to the fern. I'm going to start with Pine. And I just have this mask in place. I'm not using this yet. And I'm going to ink blend right along that top edge of the mask. Now this is where you want to kind of keep your blending tight. You don't want to be going all over. You want to just focus that blending right along that top edge of that mask. Okay, and now I'm going to go in with my Forever Green. Tap off the excess. Ooh, I re-inked these so they're a little juicy. All right, we're gonna leave that mask in place. Now we're gonna grab our stencil and we're gonna create like a slope down here. So I've kind of angled, I'll do it again. Kind of angled like that. Repeat the same 2 inks. First with Pine. And again, keep it as close as you can to the edge that wavy line die cut or this of your stencil. Close to it as you can. Once we ink blend with the Pine, you go to the Forever Green. All right, there we got 1 hill. Then we'll finish with our final set of hills. Gosh, it feels weird saying that.
Hills? Yes.
And start again with that pine. Keeping it as close to the edge as you possibly can so you have a real gradation. You have lots of contrast. Smaller brushes could maybe make this easier. I just love my big size brushes, so that's what I use. All right, and that is it for the mountains or hills. You can remove your greens, you're done with those. You can remove the mask. You're done with that. Ah.
So cool.
Now we're going to, you can flip it over. You probably don't even need to do this. You could even grab this guy. Will any of these line up? Not really. I'm not even going to worry about it. You probably don't even need to do it. Grab your teal. You use this with card number 2 and on the beginning card, I believe, as well. No, you didn't. Just on card number 2. And we're going to ink blend a gradation at the bottom. It gets lighter going up. I have to turn my panels around for me to ink blend a gradation. I got to do it sideways. All right. You can see I didn't even mask off. I'm not going to get close to the hills, so I don't need to worry about it. All right, we're almost done here. That's looking beautiful. I love that color. Bermuda's so good. But don't hate me because I know we're out. But it's so good.
We're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it.
You know what's a good substitute? Honestly, blue raspberry. Just as good. I don't think we're out of that. All right. We can go ahead. Actually, we can't glue this together yet. Take it back. Because we have to cut that little opening for our castle to go through. So we're going to grab, we haven't used them really yet except for the homework. We're going to grab those unbelievably awesome dies. And you may have noticed there's a bunch of dies for the hills in the stamp set. Here's the stamp set. You have all these hills and mountains here. Well, you have dies for that. We're going to grab one of those. I like this one here. Looks like this. It's kind of the flattest one, I'd say. I don't know if it helps, but it goes with this one here. Oops, flipped over. Let's try it like that. There, that's the die I'm going to use. It really doesn't matter. I just don't use the shortest one. There's 4. Stick to the 2 taller ones, I guess. So this one or that one here, the one I'm holding, or this one here. Because they're big enough to get that castle through. Just pick a spot for it to go. I like it right there. And we're going to die cut it and tuck our little castle in.
Oh, you're not even taping.
Not even taping.
You're wild.
Yep. This one is not as crucial. If it's a little angled, it's totally fine. It's hills, right?
Okay.
Nope, let's not put that there, because that's how it falls on the floor. You would think I'd learn. Okay. All right. We have that ready to go, but we need to now color our die cuts. So, because we can't put the castle in without it being colored. But we got our panels ready with the last stretch, which is coloring our die cuts. I'm going to place them down onto this sticky mat while I color them so they don't shift on me. I guess I don't have to color that sentiment, but he's there now. Do our 3 parts of our Loch Ness and our water. Now I am going to go pretty fast through the coloring, but it's very easy coloring, so don't stress. And I don't put a lot of emphasis on this in the instructions because the point of this class was more of how to use the landscape die and some creative card bases. Not so much focusing on the coloring. But these are the markers I'm using if you want to follow along. I've shared this, they're in the instructions, so you can find them there. They're right here on, let's find the page. Page 37, right here for card number 3. So you have them there as well. I did share this on the Facebook group, so you had swatches, because I know not everybody uses Copics. And again, you don't even have to use Copics, you don't have to use alcohol markers. Feel free to use colored pencils, whatever you like to color with. But if you're following along with me, these are the colors I'm using. I'm going to follow just straight down in order to keep it simple. So I'm starting with the back of the Loch Ness, and really when I mean the back, I mean these spikes. That's what I mean. Starting with my lightest green, which is G43. Quickly color all those spikes. This is the base. Even those guys on its head. Little spikes there. Okay, and then we're going to grab the YG63. This is our darker shade. And I know it's tricky, but we're going to add a little, just a tiny bit of color at the base of each spike. I'm not even going to really do it on those teeny ones. This creates a little gradation, adds a little bit more interest. But I will admit, it's teeny tiny. If you didn't want to do this part, no one's gonna know. No one's gonna know. Okay, that's done with the green. Now we're gonna move on to the body, which is this part right here. I have 2 colors picked out, BG32 and BG13, which is the dark. We'll start with the 32. And that's kind of our base. This is the lighter color, and I'm coloring the whole body. The only part I'm avoiding is the belly. But if you get a little on the belly, it really doesn't matter because we end up coloring the belly in a teal anyways. Okay. Now for our darker color, BG13. I'm going to color right along the base. Let's start with the middle section. So right here, any place I think would be in shadow. Color under this little snout.
You guys make it look so easy. Those of you that are good at coloring make it look so easy.
I'm really not that great of a color.
Kim always says that about herself too, and I just sit in awe. I guess the markers do some of the work for you, though.
I think so. I think they do a lot of the heavy lifting for sure. You know, I don't even think I need to blend that out. I think that looks good. But if you do feel like you need to blend it out, you could go with your lighter color and blend a little bit. But I think just for his here on his tip of his tail, I'm happy with that. Okay, now for his stomach. 3 colors. I don't know why I picked so many. I was feeling very bougie that day. Really doesn't need that many colors, but we did them. That's what I did, so that's what we're doing. Starting with BG15, our light, I'm going to color the whole tummy area. This is a little darker than the BG13 that we just used on the body. Now onto BG49. And we're going to do it kind of in this under part here. come down about halfway, and then down at the base of his tummy right there. And then I'm just going to simply color that whole part right there. And then last, BG9. Again, at the top, this under part, going about only like a third. This is where you could have probably just got away with 2 colors instead of 3. And that's it for Nessie. Now let's move on to the water, BG11. I'm making it really hard for Gavin.
He's keeping up pretty good.
Yeah. We're going to go right along the water. Very simple, just color right along the stamped lines. Just add a little color so it's not just white. Okay, that's it for the water. The clouds are pretty similar. We're going to use B41, but you can see it right here too. And the clouds, we're going to go right on the underside, right here along the bottom edge. And then I like to go in those little, I don't know, details inside that cloud, little cloud poofs that are internal. And now we've reached the segment of the class where I don't know what things are called. It always happens when I color.
Home stretch.
Yep. It's like, this is where I learn I don't know what things are called. I don't even know if that would have a term, though, in fairness. In fairness, I don't know what you would call that. Cloud poofs? All right. Castle. So we have 6 colors for the castle. The base of the castle is C1, C3, and C5. So cool grays. I'm going to grab them here. C1, C3, C5. We're going to start with our light. Color the whole thing. Go even further beyond the stamped image. All right, now C3, our medium, starting up in the bottom, using that feathered stroke where I push down and lift up, push down, lift up. It makes your gradation a lot better, a lot easier to blend out. I'm gonna do that right along this edge here, the castle, kind of create a little shadow there. And then I'm going to go right along the top. Just add some more interest. Turrets. I think that's a word.
That's right.
Yeah. Now we're on to the final, C5. You can use that to color the windows. And then add to the gradation. We will blend this out, so back to C3, our medium. Blending that out. And I don't think I need to do blend with C1. Now keep those cool grays ready, because you will need those probably to add some stones. And then last, they're nice to kind of pop in there as well, but we do most of the stones with our warm grays, which are, let's put them in order, W1, W3, W5. And I'm just going to kind of dot, starting with the lightest, going over and just adding little dots to make the stones. All over. Very good. And then I'll grab the medium. Same thing. I won't go as high up with the medium. It's about 2/3 up. 2/3 up from the bottom. And then W5. And this one, again, not so high up, about just 1/3, the lower third with that one. So if I do a little bit of that center turret there, I just like to break that up a little. Now this is where you might want to soften things with your other cool grays. This is C5. Actually, I think he's too dark.
I don't know if it is.
Oh.
I don't know. Like War Mississippi. Move your hand for a second.
Yeah. Take it out. There we go. So C3, just little dots. Again, making the stones. This is just kind of bonus. You don't have to do stones with the cooler grays, but it's kind of nice too. And this is C1. Just going to do some with the C1 as well. All right. I'm happy with my castle. He's done. We're ready to wrap it up. Whew. We're going to just get it done. Just get it done here.
You're good? You got time?
Okay.
Now we lick and stick.
Yes, lick and stick. Just figure out where my card base went. Here he is. Okay, we're going to start by adhering that panel of Cascade down. I was here listening to Kim's class, and I was like, Kim, your class, that feels like a marathon. It felt like you were talking forever. Like, not like it's just as impressive that she's keeps her energy and everything going for so long. And you know, 2 hours flew by, guys. I'm sure you guys are feeling the same way. Okay, so I'm gonna add liquid glue to the back side of this. Keep a little glue away from there so I can tuck in my castle. Actually, we're going to tuck in our castle right now. I had him in there. I pulled him out. I don't know why I did that. Okay. And I'm going to push him down. I'm not worried about a little bit of the... You can see the black line stops on the castle. I'm not worried about that. That doesn't bother me. In my original, I did actually extend it. I just took my marker and extended it. But I'm going to leave it alone. But you could always do that if you want to make it taller. So we'll glue that down with the castle tucked in his little hill cove. You can even lift this up. Whoops! Don't lose it. Took a little glue back there. Stick him down. Permanent there. Cute. All right. Now everything else is popped up with foam adhesive. So I've got some foam dots here to kind of speed this up. We'll start with the clouds. And thank goodness I got 2 pairs of reverse tweezers because I did already lose my first pair. Again, thank goodness. Put those there. Nessie. Oh, and before we stick Nessie down, it's actually easier to glue down the water. You're going to start with the big piece of water. It goes, let's grab the original card here. It goes across those 2 sections. So I just like to add glue to the water and glue it down because then it just holds everything together. And you overlap her body. And then we'll kind of do that for the second half with the medium piece. You got the medium water, or I mean the large water, the medium water, and the small water. So the medium water will hold her tail to her body. a second. Great. Now I'm going to flip this over and add foam adhesive. Okay. Move the backing. Stinker. Alrighty. Here's our card base. That's on about right there.
So Vicky asked if we were going to be adding to this collection, and I was like, oh, I don't know, too soon to tell. What are you thinking? And then Kim's like, well, yeah, I forgot these guys haven't seen the whole collection yet. So, stay tuned for a few more minutes. And
Yes.
you're going to see.
We have some fun things to show you guys. Some actual samples in-house, ready to go.
'Cause these two products are part of a bigger collection called Don't Stop Believin'.
We're going to pop up that little bit of water. Cute. Okay, and then last, but of course not least, our sentiment. And I chose to pop him up too because I have a foam adhesive addiction. And it just looks so
If
good.
you're going to have an addiction, that's a good one.
Even if it's hard, I'm like, I'm popping it up. I think I'm going to use this one. This one seems a little bit smaller for whatever reason. Because I messed up that one. And you know, these strips do make it so much easier to do that than the olden days. Back in the olden days with our 3M roll of adhesive. All right. Stick this guy down. There it is. There's our finished card. Our
Yay.
third and final card. We did it.
Perfect timing.
Just enough time to check out some of the other products. So I have them here. I will put them on camera so you guys can see. So I already hinted at this in the Meet the Teacher because we had a very astute person who was like, what is this die for? And I'll point it out. From the Unbelievably Awesome, she noticed this die here and she's like, what's this for? And I was like, well, it actually cuts a little opening in the tail so you can tuck something in. And that was designed to go, that was purposefully designed to go with our new Unbelievably Awesome Banners stamp sets. Let me grab it here. Is this it? Nope, I lied. Where'd it go? Sorry guys, oh here it is. I just put a bunch of stuff on top. Okay. So this is what you have right now. This is the unbelievably awesome Stampin' Cut. You guys have been using that in today's class. The sentiments, the Loch Ness, such a great set. This works beautifully with the Unbelievably Awesome Banners stamp set or Stampin' Cut. Stampin' Cut comes with the dies. It creates fireworks and these really cool banners that you can tuck in Nessie's little tail. And I have a sample here to show you. So it actually cuts a little opening here. Actually, it's two openings, a little slot here and here, so you can tuck in that pole of the banner so she can be holding the sentiment that way as well. And I think there's so many fun sentiments in this set. You have So Happy You Exist, Have a Magical Day, so that's great for birthday cards, or Have a Magical Birthday, sorry. Long Time No See, hilarious. You're a legend. And then let's turn it this way for these other ones. You're unbelievably awesome. And I believe in you. So cute. And I love the fireworks. And there's dies for all of those different fireworks layers. So it makes it really fun and easy to do different colors and really create magical scenes. You, of course, can do single layer cards with this set as well. Here you can see the fireworks stamped out with that You're Unbelievably Awesome banner right there. Super cool set. And it is available right now for you guys. It's really only available right now for you Crop and Create attendees. If you go to the Hero Arts webpage or website and you type in Crop and Create, that will take you right to, and we've shared this link before earlier, but now we've updated it with these new Unbelievably Awesome products. But there's more. There's more to this collection. We also have, now this might be the star of the show.
I think it is. It's so good.
It's so good. It is the Lake of Legends stencil. It's a 4-piece layering stencil set. This creates an incredible scene, so easy to make, thanks to all the layers. An incredible scene for your Loch Ness to be, and it works great for the tiny Loch Ness from the Unbelievably Awesome stamp set or the larger Loch Ness from the Gentle Giant set, both of those ones that you have. And I can show you some examples here. So here is it all ink blended out. So cool. And just the scene is so strong on its own. And then I have a bunch of cards where I created, just used sections of it. So I just used a part of it here to create the top of the water for this card here. And I did the same thing for this card here. So lots of fun ways to use that die, or that, I'm sorry, that layering stencil set. It's really incredible, and it works so well with that, the two products that you got from the kit, the Gentle Giant and the Unbelievably Awesome Loch Ness. I mean, this one's just so good, and I think it's so strong all on its own. And then the last product, we talked a lot about landscape dies, and there's actually some more landscape dies in this collection. We have the cloud dies here. They are long dies, so they're made to be used in that landscape style. They're 6 inches long. You have 3 different cloud styles, and I have some samples here to show you. They're always handy to have cloud landscape dies. You can see I used them on this card for the sky, but I even used one of them to create the like shrubbery or hills. So you can do that as well. It's really versatile. I did it on this one as well.
These are the perfect to make masks.
Ah.
And I have those. And what I love about this set is how long they are and how different they all are. Because the ones I've had in the past are like one cloud, and then you're trying to like move it and make it, and it doesn't look as organic. And so that's what I love about this set.
And we did that in class. We did a lot of masking creating our own masks with a landscape die. So you've already had some practice at that. That's what I would probably use this for the most, is for creating a mask and ink blending my skies. I love to do that with clouds, and this would work so, just like Nicole said, so great because they're great variety. They would not create that repetitive pattern for sure. So very, very cool. I think that is everything. We do have, I do want to point out, and all these products, the clouds, the unbelievably awesome banners. I'm going to point that out because you've got the Unbelievably Awesome stamp set, but this is the Unbelievably Awesome banners. So if you want to get that kind of coordinating set with the Unbelievably Awesome set that you got in your kit, make sure you get the Unbelievably Awesome banners. And then, of course, that Lake of Legends stencil. These 3 additional products to this collection are up on the Hero Arts website. You can definitely find it very easily. If you just type in Crop and Create, you'll find the link, or you'll find the tab to that page, and you'll see all these products there. And the last thing I want to point out is that 20% off code that we shared with you at the beginning of the event, which is Crop 2026. You can get these brand new products, which we never do. We never put discounts on brand new products, but you can get these brand new products. In fact, they're not even released necessarily to the public. you can get them now with this code for 20% off. And that's really just as a big thank you for you guys for coming to this event and just being such great, kind of just a great group. This is always such a great group. I'm always impressed by how kind everybody is and encouraging. It's always so awesome. And it is good till March 30th, which is, or
Monday.
through March 30th, which is Monday. So make sure you take advantage of that soon. And this 20% off is on site-wide and can be combined with our shipping discount as well. So you can get it for free if you do the $100 minimum, I guess. And I think that's all that I have for you guys.
But this collection will release in May. Yes, this collection will release in May. I'm questioning myself because we've moved it around a little bit.
Yeah,
But this will release in May. So if you don't get it now, like this weekend, it will go into hibernation, just like Nessie herself going under the waters, until the middle of May when it launches to all. So if you want it, get it now.
Yeah, and I definitely, I know I'm not supposed to pick favorites, but I do think that layering stencil is just so perfect for with the other products that you receive. But of course, this is like an essential, the clouds, you would use it for forever and ever. And how fun the banners tucking it into. Where's my other, did I show the other card? Yeah, so here you can see it tucked into the large Nessie as well. Works for that too. All right, guys, that's it. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm sorry we went a little bit over, but I hope you enjoyed that sneak peek of, or well, it's not even a sneak peek because you guys saw the whole thing, but that look at the unbelievably awesome collection, those fun little extras. And I will share my bonus cards that I shared here. Some of them can be made with just the products you had. Like, I didn't even share this one, but this guy here, I'll share it up on the group. I got so distracted, but I'll share all these bonus cards so you can see them and take a closer look and get inspired. All right, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the class, and I know next up is a wrap up for today, so I will see you guys all in that wrap up. Thank you, and have a wonderful Saturday and Sunday. Woohoo! 2 more days of crafting. Bye, everyone.